Hey, Michelle, thank you again for joining us here on the QX Financial Channel. Happy to have you and come educate and share some of your lovely knowledge that you've attained over the years. Thank you again for letting Goosehead Insurance. Is it Goosehead Insurance? I guess.
Goosehead Insurance, yep.
Goosehead Insurance, thank you. I'm glad Goosehead Insurance is allowing you to come on here and join us and also share some of the great knowledge. Today, I know we wanted to kind of start off jumping into it. We've had some natural disasters around the world and around our country, for example, like in Texas. Last time we talked a lot about cars and accidental stuff. Today, I'd like you to kind of hit home and jump into what happens when something like this happens and we have flood insurance or the regular homeowners insurance. How is this stuff covered?
Okay, that's a good question, because with a regular homeowners policy, you're not covered for flood or earthquake. So if you want to be covered for those losses, you need to have an additional policy. And here in California, we deal more with earthquake. That's a big issue. In some areas, flood is a big issue, but personally, I don't come across that many flood zones, but earthquake for sure. And earthquake is expensive. There's no two bits about it, and it has high deductibles. So you want to really focus, when you're thinking about earthquake, you want to really focus on protecting your main asset, protecting the home, the dwelling. So if there's massive structural damage to your home, you want to be able to remediate that. You don't worry so much about all the personal property, because your sofa is not going to get wrecked in the earthquake, or maybe the picture falls off the wall and hits the piano. That's damage from an earthquake. But the big stuff is the structure of your home. So you want to match that coverage to the coverage A, the dwelling coverage of your homeowner's policy, but you can go much lower on personal property. You can go a bit lower on loss of use, how much funds you want to have available to pay for you to live somewhere else while you're fixing your home. And the deductibles are very high. You can go low, but then the premiums are huge. So typically we write 15, 20, 25% deductibles. So on a $500,000 house with a $20,000 deductible, that's $100,000. So you really sort of self-insuring a little along with the carrier, because if it's a big earthquake, they're going to be paying out a lot of earthquake claims. So deductibles are high. But remember, from when we talked about home insurance policies, deductibles not like with auto insurance. It's not out of pocket. You don't have to come up with $100,000 before you get any money. If you have a $500,000 claim, then you get a $400,000 payout. There's ways to work those numbers around a bit with construction costs and everything, and try to offset some of that deductible.
Beautiful. Now, with your experience in the earthquake, being more here in California, I know you can't speak for everybody, but as far as your clientele, what would you say the percentages of those customers that actually have earthquake insurance?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of hard to say. I don't know. I bet there's statistics available about that. Anecdotally, within my book of business, I would definitely say more than half of the people, probably significantly more than half, maybe 3/4 of my clients have earthquake insurance. It just depends on your sort of strategy or your thoughts about insurance. Do you want to make sure that you're protecting your asset and covered in the worst possible scenario, or do you want to just take the chance that when you're not going to have the big one in your lifetime? And
right. Roll those dice, huh? Roll those dice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. So, keeping on the theme of this concept with the earthquake insurance companies, right? In my industry, we like companies that have been around a long time, right? Financially, we like a track record in history. Now, when it comes to these, P&C companies or earthquake protection, what is the view or the outset as far as, being the producer and bringing this to your client on the livelihood of a company? Do you care if they've been around 50 to 100 years, 10, 20 years? How does that affect your clients and their policies?
Right. Good question. There's, especially with earthquake and flood, there are the state carriers that have been around forever. And then there are newer companies. The newer earthquake companies, I don't know exactly how old they are, but there's definitely newer earthquake companies. But there's a lot of new carriers coming to the market for home and auto and flood, private flood, and clients can sometimes be skeptical of them. I personally am not. I personally love them. I'm a big fan. I can't speak to all of them because I don't know all of them, but Goosehead, if you remember, is a huge independent insurance brokerage. So we have a lot of carriers, so we can find the best solution for individual circumstances. Goosehead, it's a publicly traded company, and it's a fantastic company. They do a lot of due diligence. So I know that by the time Goosehead approves a carrier, they're A-rated or higher financially. They have solid backing from billion-dollar reinsurance companies. So, from my perspective, there's bigger and smarter people in the room than me regulating these people and holding these people accountable to very high standards. So I'm very comfortable with them. And as a broker, I have this, for instance, a good example. I just got access to a new carrier last week. I'm part of a pilot program. The carrier is not completely new to the world. It's about 6 years new to the world, but it's a week old to Goosehead. And I was my first customer. I switched out my auto insurance immediately. I went from $165 a month to $98 a month for higher coverage, lower deductibles. And as a client, that they sent me, it's just like getting your Uber app. It's just slick and new and modern. And I downloaded the app. I took a picture of my driver's license, and I'm fully set. I can tell you anything about my auto insurance right now with my phone. Yeah, it was funny. I was driving with my 15-year-old daughter the other day. She has a learner's permit. And it's like her second time driving, and we're both super nervous. And I said, oh my God, my new insurance doesn't kick in until tomorrow. So don't have anything happen, because if it happens today, it costs me $500. If it happens tomorrow, it costs me $250, because my deductibles are so low, because it's so inexpensive.
Only $250 deductible? Whoa. We need that after this. I'm gonna change it a whole nother direction. I need to talk to you about that car insurance.
Everybody needs to talk to me about car insurance at the moment. This carrier is amazing. It's just incredible. Beautiful. Great, but great. The thing with these new companies, it's oftentimes veterans from other older, more established state insurance companies. They want to break away and start a new insurance experience that has great technology, because it's new. Technology is so amazing these days. If your company is 100 years old, you're constantly building and trying to change your technology to keep up with the times. If you're starting 5 years ago, you can create the ease of an Uber-like app experience. So these insurance companies, the new ones, they're slick, they're agile. If you make a suggestion like, oh, I wish I could do this as an agent, a week later you can do it. It's slick and agile, and they're all about best prices, best service. I'm a big fan of the ones that have been vetted by the likes of Goosehead. The ones that come to me, I know I can trust. They're solid, they're backed by reinsurance. There's no issue. But yeah, there's obviously going to be some rinky-dink companies that you want to worry about. Or if you're I don't know about other agencies or companies, if you're worried about it, talk to your agent, talk to your broker. I can put my clients at ease about who we work with at Goosehead. So, get that sort of sense of ease from your agent or broker.
No, that was very insightful. Thank you so much. Made a lot of sense. It's very interesting because from industry to industry, like I was saying, in our industry, financial insurance world, you want somebody that's been through a couple epidemics, some world wars, some tragedy in the world, so they have a track record of not going under. Because that's one of the biggest things for us is, well, what's going to happen when you get a big claim or a whole bunch of people need to get paid out? Do you have enough assets, under management? You can handle this. And so for our world, we really like companies that have been around 100+ years because we know they've been vetted through what we call the age of time. And so that's very insightful. You know what I think I forgot to ask you though was,
Mhm.
yeah, I forgot to put on my umbrella. You gotta tell me a little bit about
Oh,
the policy and how those
um,
are. I'm rushing through.
um,
So
that's fine. Umbrella policies are one of my favorite policies. I'm a big fan. It's a easy, relatively inexpensive way of getting an extra million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, you name it. For most people, for a lot of people, you can just start with 1 million and think of it as like an umbrella. It's overhanging your underlying policies. So your auto policy, you have 250, 500 limits. We went through that last time. I won't bore you
we
with
did.
the detail, but we have liability limits on all of our policies: auto, home, boat, whatever, any sort of policy, your second home, your rental dwelling that you rent and have tenants in, there's liability. So the umbrella will extend the limits of liability on each of those policies by an additional $1 million or more, whatever amount you choose. And that's important, especially in this kind of litigious society. I mean, it's interesting to Google, umbrella claim examples, and you'll see examples of kids who've had parties when their parents are out of town, alcohol, kids jumping in the pool, someone becomes a quadriplegic because they hit their head on the bottom of the pool. All of these horrible, unfortunate disasters, but the parents are liable. Who, if you're that homeowner, they can come against your liability. You've probably got $500,000 if you're a high end, and some only have, well, you got to have 300 at least for an umbrella. So have a real situation that's a tragedy like we just mentioned, and that claim is legitimate. But that's when you Google. My personal experience, I normally see more not legitimate claims, people trying to make the most of a situation, like, oh gosh, I fell over while I was leaving my client's house after washing her dog. What can I get? I have literally seen that example. And
I, I can't believe it. Blows my mind, and I tell people this, all the time, and it's sad because I'm not that, but I guess I'm getting there. I go, how did I get so old so fast? I go, what happened to people being accountable? It's like we took this word out of the dictionary all of a sudden, and there's no
oh
accountability. Like, did you make a dumb decision and get hurt? And we're not gonna go detail, but a lot of times if
yeah,
people make bad decisions, and then like you said, because we live in this litigious state, it's like, well, I'm just gonna sue and come up now. It just blows
you
my mind.
have no idea. It's funny, actually, a funny little story. One of the zip codes, auto insurance is rated a lot by zip codes and various other things. But there's one particular zip code that is, I just quoted recently, the same auto in this zip code versus a neighboring zip code. And it was about $150 a month more for exactly the same,
Are
because
you kidding?
no. And I guess, again, just kind of anecdotally and stereotypically, this particular zip code is known for drivers that can't drive that well or whatever. And but more importantly, there's insurance scams going on. People will hang out at zebra crossings and accidentally fall
Oh,
into the car, and then they've got the backup of all the personal injury attorneys and stuff. And there's a place for them. I don't want to slam on personal injury attorneys. Sometimes there are legitimate claims where people legitimately need reparations for a legitimate claim, but oftentimes there are just people trying to scam the system and get what they can out of you. And the umbrella policy
yeah.
is going to let you sleep safe at night knowing that you're covered, and it doesn't cost that much. Started to like $260 or $80 a year, not a
Okay.
month, a year.
Very affordable. No,
Mm.
thank you for that. It's just crazy, like you said, how much people try to take advantage, I guess, of the system. I feel, things are always set up to be a certain way, and we don't want people to do it, but it's like more and more people are now trying to take advantage of systems versus just do the right thing. So
Right,
I
so you
thank
want to
you.
be protected.
you got to be protected, if not overprotected, because somebody's going to try to come at you at some point in time. It's almost like we say in our world, taxes are going up. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I kind of
Right.
same thing when you have these assets. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when someone decides to come after you and take you for what they could try to get.
Right.
So, hey, Michelle, as always, I appreciate your time. If users want to get in touch with you, again, your information is at the bottom here to reach out to you. Just as us, QX Financial, this is our video and our page. We have all of our links at the bottom. Feel free to reach out if you'd like a free 15-minute diagnosis of your financials, or if you had any questions, we'd love to help out. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you again.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, bye-bye, Michelle.